Hey folks, Jonathan here. Figured we would go on and maybe try to get the front end changed in this truck. I'm going to do the front first because it's pointing downhill. I'm going to have to move it to get to the back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the wrecker and pick the front of it up, run some straps on it, run the springs, pick it up, and that way I can take the wheels off, take everything loose, and then I can drop it down and onto the ground and then finish unbolting it, and everything will come out nice and easy. From my understanding, from what everybody's told me on the internet, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that know a lot more about this than I do, this axle here being a 77, everything from the basically the spindles out will fit, or the ball joints out. So what I want to do is I'm going to use the calipers and the rotors off of this truck here, which I hope, I think's good, and it does have brakes. So we'll check them out good, check the brake pads, and let me see, the steering arm we'll leave on there, drag link running across. Now the arm over here on the steering where the nuts are loose on the other one, them 3 nuts I got to take loose, and I know them are a pain to get off. Beat on them for a while, and them cone shape or tapered bushings or whatever you want to call them. But we'll get this all cleaned up. But I'm going to go ahead and back up here with the wrecker and get this thing picked up so we can at least get the wheels off. This thing had locking lug nuts. This one they'd already had off. As you've seen, they only had 2 lug nuts holding this wheel on. I've got some extra 7/16 that I saved from the 55 Chevrolet project. I had some new ones left over that are acorns, just like the ones that are on it. Well, not necessarily acorns, a little longer than that, but anyway, you get the point. We're going to go ahead and get it up, get the wheels off, roll them out of the way. I've still got the locks on the back wheels we got to get off, but I just beat an 11/16 socket, old cheap Japanese 12-point on it. They came right off. I think everything will probably be, what's not loose, is probably just falling apart on this thing anyway. So we're going to go through and make sure everything's tight, everything's safe, put it back together. I mean, these things don't drive great anyway with big tires jacked up, but we'll get it all done here. Okay folks, we've got it up in the air. Bumper's already bent, but we're not worried about it anyway, because I've seen a couple posts on there, people talking about the bumper, and I totally agree. Besides it being dent, they ruined it anyway when they went to put a bunch of holes in it. I see a good bumper there. Yeah, I better not do that. Anyway, I've actually got a bumper that, well, it's my son's. I'm sure I can get it from him, but it is a tube bumper that you can put air in, and works as an air tank. So I can put it on it, or I can build something, or try to find a good front bumper. I'm not too worried about it right now, so we will figure all that stuff out later on. Like I said, I want to get this thing where I can let my wife drive it and see if she can even handle it and like it and all that good stuff, and if she does, then we'll go from there. But I'm still going to get this thing on jack stands because you don't trust nothing. Okay, rotors and calipers don't look too bad on this one. They're smooth, they're not gouged, 8 into, nothing like that. Time for a set of brake pads, but I think it's going to be okay. But I wanted to show you them 3 nuts. You can see a lot easier now that are missing on this thing. And I want to get a close-up so you can see that this has been a long time since there's been any nuts on this thing. This thing, it could have been years, and none of the 3. So I don't know who was driving it, but I'd say they're lucky. Now I may have a heck of a time getting this off, but what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a sledgehammer one time and just see if I can make it move. And I may end up having to heat them or something, I don't know. Hasn't moved a bit. Ball joint's bad. Upper ball joint. Yeah, this might be fun. Things always get fun. Well, I don't think you had to worry about it falling off, at least not since they rusted on there. Alright, we got the back one left. One down, two to go. And there we go. Upper ball joint about to fall out. Alright, we'll get the caliper and go ahead and pull the rotor and stuff off. Or at least get the caliper off. We can take them off later if we need to. And bottom shock. And we'll start getting a couple of the U-bolts out. And we will go from there. Okay folks, I'm back here at it. It's actually the next day. Had to go do some towing, and then when I got back I ended up going down and helping my son at his house. And he's moving along on it, and he's been working so much he hasn't, gotten much done on anything. He did do some work on his other four-wheel drive here, but we're sort of jumped on the house now, trying to get as much done on it as we can. So I'll probably be working on it again this evening. Anyway, we're going to see if we can get these calipers off, and I'll go ahead and at least see if I can get this front end set out, and we'll go from there. A friend of mine, Bobby, bought him a new set of electric impact, and he uses good tools because he works on heavy equipment, but he actually gave me his old set: batteries, flashlight, impact, drill, and I'm so impressed with this impact. I'd have never thought you could take one and actually take U-bolts off with it, Okay folks, we've officially got it dropped out of there. I went ahead and left the calipers, the rotors and stuff on it, and our steering stabilizers. Got to figure out what I'm going to use. After looking, I think this drag link running across here is actually an aftermarket. You can see the way the knuckle is instead of having the band with the clamps. Like that. So I may pop it off and use it because, you know, it looks like they did look like they kept greasing most of this stuff. Like I said, unfortunately this ball joint on this side's bad anyway, but as I tear this thing apart, you know, you can't help but laugh at some of the stuff you run into. And this is one of the reasons that I wanted to tear it apart anyway, because, you know, after seeing the rest of the work on the truck, I wanted to go through and, you know, check everything that they had done. And, you know, some of it's hard to do without taking it apart, but, and I guess if whoever done this work watches this, they'll probably be offended, but they probably deserve to be offended, I'll be honest with you, for building something like this. You know, it don't matter how many parts you buy and aftermarket stuff, if you don't put it together right, then you're wasting your time, but, you know, you're building dangerous stuff too. But, okay, you can see this is our locate on our spring, and this is a hardened pin that goes through. Now, I've made a lot of these out of grade 8 bolts. But I used to towing when I chalked my back wheels and I was pulling a lot of heavy equipment out, you know, dozers and such stuck in the swamps down here in North Carolina. You know, I'd have the wheels chalked so much, and I'd pile, I mean, it ended up piling dirt up to about to the top of my bed, dragging my truck back. But I had sheared a lot of these pins. I'd come home driving and look like I was dog legging, and, you know, first thing I'd have to do is tear it down and put a new pin in. And so, you know, it's something I was pretty used to on the back anyway, but this of course is the front. Now when you go to steer this thing, you know, the steering arm pushes forward and back, so you got pressure on it from your steering, and you got big tires on it, so, you know, it's going to try to force it forward and back. But not only that, you know, when you hit a stump, hit a hole, you know, just hit the brakes. I mean, you know, you got loads on this thing. But here's what gets me. They had these tapered plates in here, and this is to change the pinion angle, I guess, to get it back up toward the transfer case where it needs to be. But after you put these plates on, the pin's not even sticking through. So that makes it totally impossible to locate this front end on this bent perch. As you can see, it's smashed down in real good. So, you know, there's absolutely no way that they was locating it. The U-bolts wasn't the tightest in the world. As you've seen, I took them off for a, you know, half-inch rechargeable impact, and so there's, you know, there's just no way that this front end was holding in there where it needed to be. You know, this truck would not just dog leg down the road, but, you know, probably wear tires bad, and just makes it rough. But anyway, like I said, this is one of the reasons I wanted to take this stuff apart, because you can't see this without tearing it down. So probably what we're going to do, because we're going to want to run these plates and go ahead and get, you know, keep that angle. I think what we'll do is probably make an adapter that slides over this, has the ID of this, which looks like about a 7/16. I was, you know, just guessing, and then bring it up to where it slides through these holes, and then on the bottom of it come back down to 7/16, so we can slide into our hole on our front end. And, you know, we can get that located back where it needs to be. You know, once you've got it in place and where it needs to be, you know, you still, even if you tighten your U-bolts down, you still need it to be able to locate, but, you know, it's not as much of an issue with strength if you get your U-bolts tight. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that, and I don't think I can go any farther, you know, teardown wise, to be able to find anything else, you know, because basically we're doing the entire setup. But, you know, we'll go through and check everything on the engine, make sure it's, you know, the mounts are good and in there. And like I said, we've got some stuff to do building the a new mount for that slave cylinder. The exhaust, we're just going to rip what they've got off there and go ahead and redo the exhaust. We'll bring it, you know, bring it down away from that the slave cylinder, and then back. I'm just going to tie it back into them stacks for the time being, and we'll get all these little issues taken care of. And I mean, this issue is just, That's just wrong. I mean, it's just not, it's not the way you do things. There's no way possible that they could have located this front end, you know, forward and back to get it where it needed to be. So, anyway, one more thing, and I forgot to tell you on the last video, the engine in this thing. You know, when you buy something and you have no idea what you're getting, you know, for all I know, it could have been a 305 or, you know, anything. I've even bought stuff and ended up having them little 267 Chevrolet V8s, but got really lucky on this one. I ran the suffix code on it. It's a 1970, 350, 300 horsepower. It does have the right heads on it. Somebody painted the block yellow, and it looks like a light yellow up here, a darker yellow like a cat yellow underneath, and then the heads are green, timing cover's orange. So I don't know, I think maybe the truck was in the circus or something, but we're going to not worry about that. Probably just pressure wash, clean everything up. You know, we've got a lot of wiring issues to get straightened out. Stuff like this steering column, you can see this bracket is not even bolted on. Column's loose. The rag joint, I noticed this. The bolt in the rag joint's just not even tight, so we'll go ahead and replace the rag joint and see if we can get it decent. You know, the angle on the shaft's good. It's not, you know, it's not over, not too much anyway. Even though they did put a little bit of a body lift on it, and the body lift's not to be desired either. So, but anyway, I just wanted to show everybody, and we're moving along on it. It's probably gonna start raining here, but I'm gonna go ahead and post this video, and you know, we're gonna keep on this and get it to where, like I said, where my wife can drive it one time and see how she likes it, and then we'll either keep it or move it on down the road. And luckily these perches here are in a little better shape. Yeah, it's not dented down and bad. I started pressure washing this a little bit, but we're going to get it cleaned up and maybe hit it with a wire brush and put some black paint on it before we put it up under, but still got some stuff to pull off of it. But it's not a bad job. It's not really, you know, there's not really that much to this. It's just, you know, having time to do it. So, all right, well, anyway, I'll show you more later. I appreciate everybody watching, and until next time, bye.